Joining me is Michael Bishop. Michael is a retired chemist and a landowner, farm owner in Texas. Back in 2008, Michael received a letter from Transcanada saying that his property has been selected as a potential route for the Keystone XL Pipeline. Michael, talk to us first. Thank you for being here, by the way. Talk to us first about that first letter you got from Transcanada, what it said, and what happened.
David, the first letter we got from Transcanada was in 2008, and basically it was a generic form letter that was not very explicit. It just said that we were a potential site for their crude oil pipeline.
So when you got that letter, did you respond? Did people just kind of show up at your property? What was the next thing that happened?
They threatened to put me in jail, and basically on my own property, and that irritated the devil out of me. So I confronted them back and told them that if they didn't get off my property, there were going to be some serious health issues with their crews, and somebody was going to jail, and it was not going to be me. So I ran them off my property, and I didn't hear anything for about 6 months to a year after that.
So when you finally had a meeting with some of the representatives from Transcanada who want to put in the Keystone Pipeline through your property, you actually said, hey, you could run this through the western part of my property. I wouldn't charge you anything for that. Just that would be where I would prefer you run this. And you were told basically, you can't tell us where to run the pipeline.
That's very correct. The situation was that when I was under the impression at the time that it was a crude oil pipeline, realizing Texas law and realizing that I would have been beating my head against the wall, I went ahead and said, look, the route you want to take is inappropriate. It's not acceptable. It's going to impact myself and my neighbors. I've got a solution for you. There is an existing right-of-way with 3 pipelines on it. One is a small natural gas pipeline. The other is a Sunoco crude oil pipeline, about a 24-inch line. The other is had been abandoned for nearly 30 years. It was a BP Amoco crude oil line. All they had to do was come in a straight line on the western edge of my property, follow the route that was an existing oil route right away that was already there, and the problem would have been solved. And I told the men, I said, I do not want your money. I don't like you. I don't like your company. I will give you the land. Just stay away from where I live. We shook hands. We had a meeting. We shook hands. They agreed to it. But the man told me in no uncertain terms, they cannot be told by any regulatory agency or landowner where they can put their line. They can put their line directly under your house, and under Texas law, they have to pay for the house to be moved. Well, that just gives them unlimited authority, and I'm opposed to that.
Hey, Michael, is it common in Texas to have 3 pipelines going through your property as it is? And then, are these common situations where people have so much stuff going through their properties?
Oh, absolutely. You're looking at a state that is just, there's millions of miles of pipelines laid in this state, and basically they're everywhere. You can't go 300 or 400 feet and not find a pipeline somewhere. So yeah, it's very common.
As it stands right now, what's the latest offer? Because I know there have been a number of back and forths and discussions with Transcanada about the Keystone XL Pipeline going through your property. What's the latest offer that you have on the table, or where do things stand right now?
The latest offer, we've settled. We settled in a mediation hearing, but that settlement, as I've contended in my lawsuits, was done under coercion and extreme duress. And I can prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's ridiculous. And Transcanada, even though I've settled, I've gone back to court and filed a fraud lawsuit. I filed a suit in Travis County, which is the state capital, Austin, Texas, against the Railroad Commission, which is the permitting agency. And I'm halfway through preparing my suit against the Army Corps of Engineers.
So is work being done on your property right now?
The work is just completed, although the property has not been restored as they agreed to in their original settlement, or according to the law. They have not restored the property. And in all honesty, the damage is irreparable. They will never be able to restore the property to its original condition.
Okay, so that's what I want to focus on. What's been done? What damage has been done?
I've got two creeks going through my property, and these creeks are spring-fed natural creeks. And the problem is they have muddied those creeks to the point they've destroyed the vegetation, the wildlife. They have destroyed the banks of the creek. They came in with their giant excavators and track hoes, and they leveled the creek, the bank of the creek, down to the point where it will never be restored to its natural condition. Never.
Hey, but I'm curious, Michael, what before this incident, right? What were your politics? Like, in other words, what was your view on oil and drilling? And has this changed it, or has it just so happened that they came across somebody who was against this stuff to begin with?
Look, I've spent a large amount of my years in the petrochemical industry. I was a firefighter, paramedic. I worked as a lab technician and eventually as a chemist in the industry. I was raised on the ship channel in Houston. I have no beef with oil. Oil is not the problem. This is not crude oil, as my lawsuits will contend or do contend. The problem is, and going back to your question, I'm an ultra conservative. Basically, I've voted Republican since Richard Nixon, served in the Marine Corps in the '60s, but now I am a full-blood libertarian. So. And basically, this is about. I used to belong to a group of scientists that believed that this climate change claim was a fabrication. It was an economic manipulation. I have since changed my views on that. I am now a member of the American Union of Concerned Scientists.
Fascinating. And so I'm guessing that you're okay. Your story was pitched to me by a pretty progressive, liberal organization. You're okay on those issues working with progressive groups, I would take it.
Absolutely. Listen, here's the thing. Climate change is not a fantasy. This is a real event. We're in serious trouble in this country, and people like me had to wake up the hard way and say, no, wait a minute. I'm an analytical chemist. I have to stop and I have to look at the facts. I have to assess those facts. And I think the evidence is overwhelming at this point that we have to adjust our thought process. But going back to a local personal issue, this is a matter of eminent domain and sovereignty of American citizens. You're talking about a foreign private corporation stealing American land for private personal gain. And I'm sick and tired of my coworkers sitting here telling me that, it's going to lower the price of gasoline, it's going to give us security for America, and it's baloney. You're talking about a foreign private corporation located in Canada that's bringing down a toxic, corrosive material that is not crude oil by any definition, federal or state, and taking it to another foreign private corporation. That corporation is Motiva. One of them is Motiva. Motiva is a joint venture between Royal Dutch Shell and Saudi Arabia Refining. That is a private economic gain. And Texas law, they are violating Texas law. The Constitution clearly states that in our state, your property can only be taken for public use, not for private economic gain. So I'm fighting them, and we're going to win, and they're going to have to dig the damn line up, period.
All right, we've been speaking with Michael Bishop from Texas. Michael, really great to hear your story. I'm sorry that this is the reality of the situation, but we're going to keep following it, and we'll definitely have you back.
David, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.